Okay, thank you. Evening, everyone. Thank you all for coming. See, okay, let's continue with last night's talk. Master Aaron Monk Chu Yin, we were talking about how when he first started, he took the 5 precepts for lay people. That's a standard Buddhist practice. And he wasn't sure that since he broke his 5 precepts, he wasn't sure that when he became a monk, he was able to attain the precept substance. So he vowed to go to India to find a monk to discuss this matter, which is kind of sad because back then in China, they were transmitting precepts to the Chinese, and the Chinese monks did not know how to deal with this situation. And it still is the case nowadays as well. When we teach our Buddhist disciples to take the 5 precepts and they violate the 5 precepts, the monks and nuns really don't know what to do with it. I was kind of disappointed myself when I went to Taiwan to learn about precepts, and when a disciple, Taiwanese disciple, asked the monk, he said, I am about to receive my full ordination, but I violated the 5 precepts. Can I have a chance to attain the precept substance? And the monk in charge, the managing monk, said, at my temple where I learned the precept, he says, I'm sorry, I can't help you. So that person was very disappointed. He returned to lay life, and he did not bother becoming fully ordained. Okay, this is a precept school, one of the most famous precept schools in Taiwan. It's because the Hinayana people don't have the Dharma to deal with it. Okay, and so that's a difference. Here in the U.S., when Master YongHua have full ordination, then I'm not sure what he taught his disciples, but I'm pretty sure that whatever they were doing would be able to handle it. Okay, so that tells you the Mahayana will have the full complement of practices that are necessary to handle these problems. Okay, so he went to India and he met an arhat. I'm not sure how he recognized the arhat, but he asked his arhat about his problem. He said, "This is a problem when you receive the 5 precepts and you violate them. It may prevent you from taking further precepts if you don't do it right. So this is from the book knowledge, okay? But the book." Buddhist scriptures, books don't really explain to you how to handle it. And this is the role of Paychecks, if you will. Okay? For instance, in particular, if you receive the 5 precepts and let's say you happen to pick up something that's worth $5, more than $5, okay, and keep it for yourself. Okay, let's say you walking on the road and you see a $5 bills, okay, and you pick it up, okay, put it in your pocket, okay, make it yours, then you violate the precepts, and that's unrepentable, meaning that you will need to have special dharmas in order to resolve that problem. Okay, only Mahayana in our side of Buddhism do we have such Dharma to resolve those issues? Okay, so he asks his Arhat. Arhat is the top level, one of the top levels of the Hinayana practices in terms of samadhi, in terms of wisdom, okay? And he says, I have this problem. I see the precepts, couldn't keep them. I happen also, when I was a novice, I broke precepts as well. And I went to a Vietnamese monk who wanted to accept me as his disciples. And I asked him, I have this violated these precepts. Oh, can you help me recover? He said, oh yeah, of course I can. But anyway, it was way before I went to Taiwan to learn about precepts. And it turns out that when the Vietnamese monks, elder monk, told me what he was planning to do, I said, no, that would not work. I knew it as well. So this is a sad thing about Buddhism in the Dharma ending age, where the monks and nuns transmit precepts and don't know how to help their disciples cope with the violations. Right? So right now, I guess you have to go to the U.S., namely California, to get some help. Okay, so 238, it says, I have a home life. So what is the problem? If you become a left home person, meaning that you go through this full ordination, the ceremony where you are officially recognized as a monk or a nun. And that process is not simply ceremonial, but it also enables you to receive what is called the precept substance, okay, of a monk or a nun. And that's very important. Right? A monk and nun, in order to be really a monk and nun, must have the precept substance. So if not, then you simply are wearing clothes without really being a true monk or nun. And there's no point in practicing because you simply are wasting your time. So that's why Master Chuyen was knowledgeable. He's very well read. So he said, I received full ordination. So did I obtain the precepts or not? And he asked his Arhat. And the Arhat, this is a good Arhat. He says he dare not make judgment either. Arhat could not decide. He dare not say if whether or not Master Chuyen has obtained the precepts or had not. Okay, so this is where we pick it up. We continue from there. But you see, this is true because even a fourth-stage Arhat or Pratyeka Buddha in Hinayana would not be able to make the determination at all. They would not know, would not be able to know. Continue.
不敢说啊，你这得戒了，或者你不得戒，不敢碰。他因为自己呢的智慧，不知道，于是乎他就给入定。
Because with his own wisdom he didn't know either, so he entered samadhi.
他入定了，升到都率天去见弥勒菩萨。 见弥勒菩萨啊，就请问弥勒菩萨，就是。
He entered samadhi and ascended to Tushita heaven to see Maitreya Bodhisattva, to ask Maitreya Bodhisattva, to ask Maitreya Bodhisattva.
娑婆世界有这个法师叫智阳。
He said, in the Saha world, there is a Dharma master named Juyan.
他在没出家以前受五戒，就破了戒，出。
He received 5 precepts before leaving the home life, but broke the precepts.
他之后不知道会不会得戒，他问我不清楚，我请问菩萨，弥勒菩萨告诉我说他得戒。
After he left the home life, did he obtain the precepts? He asked me, but I don't know, so I am asking Bodhisattva to verify.
徒弟告诉他说：“我给你问弥勒菩萨，弥勒菩萨给你验说你已经得戒。”
Maitreya Bodhisattva told him he has obtained the precepts. Then the Arhat exited Samadhi and told Dharma Master Juyan.
这智严法师就生大欢喜，高兴不得了。
He said, I asked Maitreya Bodhisattva for you. Maitreya Bodhisattva has certified you. He said that you have obtained the precepts.
从印度要回来向中国走，有个避宾果。
So, Dharma Master Juyan felt great joy. He was really happy and wanted to return from India.
走不动，怎么样呢？
He was returning and walking toward China. When he arrived in Bibin, he couldn't walk anymore. What happened?
也不是有病，但是坐在那地方是圆寂的，无疾而终，也没什么。
He was not ill, but he sat there and passed away. He passed away without any illness.
病也没有，坐在那地方圆寂了。
He didn't have any illness. He didn't have any illness, but he sat there and passed away.
在这避宾果呀，他这个僧人死了之后啊，烧他有2个地方。
In Bibin, when monks pass away, there are 2 places for cremation.
一个是凡夫的这个烧凡夫，埋到把那个骨灰埋到凡夫的这个一起。有的呢。
One is for ordinary monks, the cremation for ordinary monk. The ashes will be buried with ordinary monk.
有一种是正果的，正果就圣人。
Another place was for sages who attain fruition, sages who obtain fruition.
他那个正果的圣人呢，烧的那个另外一个地方和这凡夫是不同的，那么埋的那个坟墓也不同。
The other cremation place was different from ordinary monks' cremation place. The burying grounds were different as well.
那么最初这个避宾果这些个和尚，就把他抬到这个凡夫的僧那个地方去焚烧。
Originally, the monks in Bibin wanted to carry him to the ordinary monks' cremation place.
但是抬不动，多少人也抬不动这个尸体，没有法子。
But they couldn't move him. No matter how many people tried, they couldn't move his corpse. There was no way.
就好像六祖大师那个衣钵放到石头上，那个慧明呢不能拿不动一样。
It was like the 6th patriarch putting his robe and bowl on a rock, and Huiming couldn't lift them.
那么这些和尚知道这个智严法师这一定是 证圣果的高僧了。
Thus, these monks knew that Dharma Master Zhuyan must be an eminent monk who obtained fruition.
于是乎就把他预备抬到那个正果的圣人那个地方去焚烧他的尸体。
So, they decided to bring him to the cremation place for sages who had obtained fruition.
这一回也不费力的抬起来，他自己就好像他自己愿意当跟他去似的。
This time, it was effortless to lift up his corpse. It was like himself was willing to go there.
这是在毕宾国呀，因为他有两个徒弟，两个徒弟跟着他，知道这种详细的情形。
In Bibin, he had two disciples who followed him. They knew the details.
回到中国呢，向中国所有的僧人来报告这种情形。那么以后他这个两个徒弟呢，也有回到印度去。
When they arrived in China, they reported this situation to all Chinese monks. Later, his two disciples went back to India.
那么这个智严法师究竟他是正德，是出果、二果、三果、四果呢？没有人知道。
So, whether Dharma Master Zhuyan obtained first fruition, second fruition, third fruition, or fourth fruition, nobody knew.
但是呢，一般人都知道他是一个正果的圣人。
But everybody knew he was a sage who attained fruition.
今天我说了。
Today, I talked about... Oh, that's the end of the story, Master.
Okay, thank you. Let's go back and see what we learned here from this story. So the monk, the Arhat, entered Samadhi and went up to the Tushita heaven and asked Maitreya Bodhisattva. So this fourth stage Arhat here knew better, so he said, "I better go upstairs," and asked someone who knows. So he went and saw Maitreya Bodhisattva. Okay, so this is what happens when you attain these various states of fruition in Buddhism, and then you have more access to more resources in Buddhism to do your work. So even though the fourth sage Arhat didn't know how to answer the question, there are always more competent and wiser, higher level wisdom like Maitreya Bodhisattva. So went up there and asked Maitreya Bodhisattva about this monk Chuyin, and Maitreya Bodhisattva then replies as absolutely, and this Chuyin has obtained the precepts. And so the Arhat exited Samadhi and told Chuyin that he attained the precepts. Not clear from this story whether the first part of the story he taught and studied principles and the scriptures and taught people, especially in the Chinese at the capitals, to learn Buddhism and to practice meditation, And apparently from this story, that it seems that after that, he decided he had to go to India to ask. Okay, so that tells you that this monk here certainly is not enlightened. If you are enlightened in Buddhism, in Mahayana, then you know that you're enlightened, and you will know for sure you have the precept substance. So clearly, this is a case where Chu Yin, back then in China, was highly respected, even though because he's rare, very few Chinese monks were able to attain the fruitions. So he was well regarded and considered to be a sage. So continuing with this situation, Chu Yin, when he heard that he attained the pre-substance, he felt great joy, and he wanted to return back to China. And as he working towards China, he stopped in a country, Bibin, okay, and he passed away. Okay, he sat there and entered stillness, if you will. That's the 圆寂 or 入寂, and so he passed away, and so he died. And in that particular country, I'm not sure this is India or China. I think it's still in India, or in between, yes. And so in that country, the monks who passed away, there are one for ordinary monks and one for sagely monks. Since no one knew about this Chinese monk here, so they decided to bring him to a place of cremation for regular monks, ordinary monks, and they couldn't lift him. Okay. So they knew better, so they decided to go to the sagely monks, and he was able to lift them up. Okay, and so therefore, that's a proof, another proof. This is probably the third anecdote to demonstrate that Master Chu Yin was no ordinary monk, was an eminent monk who attained the fruition. Now, when we talk about fruition, Master Hsuan talking about fruition here is sagely fruition. It refers to sagely fruition, meaning that, and this is verified by two disciples, that anecdote. And so when they arrived in China, they reported they brought the story back to China, and then reported the story to the Chinese monk, who recorded them in some kind of books somewhere, and the two disciples returned to India, so they're Indian disciples. And so in the books, no one knew whether Master Chu Yin, even though he was certified to fruitions, whether it's first fruition, meaning first stage Arhat, second stage Arhat, third or fourth. Okay, so clearly this refers to the standards of Hinayana, where they call first stage Arhat as sagely fruition. This is fine for Hinayana. Again, for Mahayana, we don't look at first fruition as sagely fruition, because you look at the level of wisdom of first stage Arhat, it's pretty limited. You can't really call it first stage, call it sagehood at all. Fourth stage is special, it's worthwhile. All right? So anyway, for the record, no one knew what level exactly. So in China, no one really knew who could recognize this Chinese monk. Just knew that he has attained the sagely fruitions. Okay? All right, so that's the third anecdote to demonstrate that Master Chu Yin was no ordinary monk. Okay, and back then, at those times in China, to attain any fruition, Arhat fruition from first to fourth, is considered extraordinary. So that's a difference in standards. nowadays in the U.S., when Master Shukran brought his Mahayana to the country, too many four-stage arhats to talk about, and as long as enlightened people. Okay, so it's different times, different standards. That's why, again, our generation should be grateful to Master YongHua for bringing this superior Dharma to our country. Okay, and we should show our gratitude by cultivating it, certifying those fruitions, and for me personally, I'd like you, third generation, so surpass his disciples, okay? So that we raise the standards. I think he would be very proud of you. Any questions or comments? Yes, 5.
A Di Đà Phật, thưa thầy, không biết con nghe có lộn không? Mà có phải cái vị A-la-hán đó có thể được đi lên để gặp Đức Phật Di Lạc phải không thầy? Lúc mà thầy ngồi định rồi thấy lên.
Master, did I hear it wrong that this Arhat, he was able to went up to the heaven to see Maitreya Bodhisattva?
Yes, it's correct. That particular fourth-stage Arhat can go up to the Tushita heaven, which is the fourth desire heaven, to consult with Maitreya Bodhisattva. Not as hard, you think. Okay, he got to see Maitreya Bodhisattva probably because of the importance of the information to the Chinese Buddhism. So Maitreya Bodhisattva had to help, felt obligated to help. But yes, he's available. Maitreya Bodhisattva is available to us downstairs, below. He can help us. Okay. Anyone else? All right, so it seems like the next topic is that we begin the next topic and see what. Okay, so continue.
Master, there's a question on YouTube.
Oh, go ahead, yes.
Pingdun Qingjing asks, Master, is it possible for arhats or higher to not have precept substance? Or is there a level where they are pure for sure?
When you are forced, you are an arhat, okay, and your fourth stage arhat or higher is the question, and for sure you have the precept substance. And there's ways to do that besides just do the ceremonies as well. The importance of the precept substance is an aid for your practice. If you're a lay person and you receive the 5 precepts and you get very strong precept substance, then it makes it much easier for you to practice Buddhism. Similarly, when you become fully ordained and you see the strong precept substance from a teacher, then you will be able to practice a lot easier than otherwise. Okay, so that's why when you receive precepts, the person who is a precept transmitter matters. Okay. Because he or she is responsible for transmitting the precept substance to you, okay? And there are some special cases where you don't need those people at all, because like in in China back then or in Vietnam and so forth, they don't have a lot of good, strong, good advisors or monks, and therefore you don't get good precept substance. But then what happens is that your own practice of the Dharma will help you acquire precept substance. Okay? So that the Dharma matters. Yes, in the back. 4.
Master, earlier you talked about somebody found $5 and they picked it up and they violate the precept. What happened if my wife, in this instant, me and my wife were walking, well not walking, but we saw money in the ground, but I choose to not to pick it up, but she did. So did I violate any precept?
Did you violate any precepts?
Yeah.
No, if you have to do it. Did you tell her to pick it up?
No.
Are you sure?
Yes. I'm sure.
Okay, there is no problem at all.
Okay.
Okay. All right, Jewel Conk.
Hello, I have 2 questions, Master. If the wife pick up the money on the street and then she buy like fried chicken and then he didn't know and then he ate it, he's still not breaking precept?
Are we talking about the same guy, same wife?
Yes, Master.
No, he's still not breaking precepts at all. Okay, the stealing precepts, in the 5 precepts. In order to violate the 5 precepts, you need to meet a certain requirements. One such requirement for violation of the precept is that you intend to steal. You intend to take it. You didn't want to take it. You have no intention of taking the money. Someone else takes the money, and then you're not violating it. Okay.
Hello, so
Question.
there's another question. In the lecture in the past, Master explained that we recite the medicine Buddha's name to restore the precept substances as part of morning ceremony. Is it only applied to our system, or like if somebody outside our system recite the medicine Buddha's name, is there a chance for them to restore their precept substances too?
Okay, that's a good question. That is not clear from the way the Chinese text, the Chinese scriptures leave it at. Okay, this is my own interpretation. Please take it with a grain of salt. Be careful. Don't take it as the absolute truth. Okay. For that particular Dharma that Master YongHua brought to us, and it's a very special Dharma that he brought to this country, and where in the morning ceremony, there around midway through, we would recite Medicine Master Buddha's name and circumambulate while reciting his name. And that's a very special Dharma, because part of that Dharma is that Medicine Master Buddha says, if you recite my name and with sincerity, then I will help you restore the precept substance you lost. Meaning that you broke precepts and you lost your precept substance. You recite his name, your precept substance will be restored. That's what the sutra says. Okay? Now, there's, again, when you read sutras, especially you scholars and bookworms, you read sutras and you think, oh, of course, I recite the Buddha's name, Medicine Master Buddha's name, Yao Shi Ru Lai, and of course I recover my precept substance. It's not always true. Okay, sutras are sutras. Sutras don't really spell out all the details Okay. So in the particular case here, if you recite Medicine Master Buddha's name after you lost your precept substance, whether you're a layperson or a left-home person, if you recite his name, you can recover the precept substance if you recite it properly. Does it make sense? Otherwise, what's the point cultivating? All you have to do is recite the Buddha's name, Medicine Master Buddha's name, and you break precept and go recite Buddha's name, break precept and go recite Buddha's name, break precept and recite Buddha's name. So what's the point? Okay? So that particular Dharma of Medicine Master Buddha brought to our world actually is not helpful at all. Okay? And so that is a case where you can recite his name, recover your precept substance, if you do it right. Okay? What's doing it right? Well, I'm not a patriarch, so I don't have all the details for you. Okay? So that this is the job of a patriarch, like a second patriarch, who's supposed to tell you these things. Or if you were alive back then, I'm surprised why no one ever asked his Master YongHua about that question. And they have to, and you have to ask me. And that's why, tough luck. I mean, I'm no patriarch, therefore I can only give you my interpretation of non-patriarch. Let's make it clear, okay? This is not the answer from a patriarch. This is, hopefully, if you have the ability, go ask Maitreya Bodhisattva, or ask someone who can ask him, or ask a second patriarch, because it's his job to explain this to you, okay? Now, in my perspective, it would work in this particular instance. If you are enlightened and you recite the Buddha's name, the Medicine Master Buddha's name, you recover your precept substance after you lose it. Okay? And that's what Medicine Master Buddha's Dharma will do for you. And that's why I was very grateful to Master YongHua for bringing that to our country. Because the implication is this. Implication is that if you go to a temple where you have enlightened people who will recite Medicine Master Buddha's name with you when you circumambulate. Remember, it's called Great Dharma Assembly, meaning that we all benefit from each other's cultivation, whether you are a good cultivator or not, okay? You'll contribute to that. All of that practice. So this is why it matters where you go to practice. Does it make sense? So you go and to a place where you have 1,000 people doing morning ceremony, you see in those Chinese temples. In China right now, I saw hundreds of people getting up at 3 or 4 in the morning, 5 in the morning, do ceremony and all dressed in black robe and look so adorned and so forth. Okay, instead, you go to, let's see. Yeah, in some of Master YongHua's temples, you will go there and make sure they don't do the Hinayana morning ceremony. Because the Hinayana morning, one of his temples, namely Berkeley Monastery. I went there a few times, and that monk there, he decided to go from the Chinese style to Hinayana style. Beautiful Hinayana morning ceremony. It's gorgeous. It's different chanting. I just happen to think that the Chinese chanting is far better than Hinayana chanting, but Hinayana chanting by itself is very remarkable. Okay, very, very good itself. Okay, and so you go there and you do this morning ceremony Hinayana style at his Berkeley Monastery. you will not benefit from this Medicine Master Buddha Dharma, which is a crying shame. Okay, so if you go to some of Master Shenhua disciples' temples, they do morning ceremony and they do the Chinese style. You get help with your precept substance. Okay. Yes, too.
From Pingdeng Qingjing, can you receive more precept substance if you have violated precepts?
Absolutely, it's about you're able to. Not this particular case. This for Medicine Master Buddha, okay, Dharma. There, it only says he will restore the precept substance, which is a big deal for us. Okay, it's an important aid for our practice. But to increase the precept substance, that's not going to happen. Okay, has to be something else. Any other questions? And not just that, not just that that particular instance, but as you practice the Dharma yourself, okay, then your precept substance will also increase as you improve. In some cases. All right. So this is a realm of the Mahayana realm where it's not documented in the Vinaya books. It's not. This is the realm of the Paychecks knowledge. Okay, continue.
Today, I talked about cultivators. You shouldn't follow your own interests to practice. That means to not listen to yourself.
Okay, correction. This is Chinese section is important. We should not. We should make the correction right away before it gets worse. The Master says, when you cultivate the way, when you cultivate Mahayana, when you cultivate Buddhism, you should not follow your own likings. And that means you should not listen to yourself. Xing qu here is your own likings, meaning that you do what you like to do. This is fundamental part of Buddhist training. So that's why, for example, when you learn meditation, never mind about cultivation. Let's say you go to a place and learn meditation, okay? And you ask these people, why do you come here to cultivate? Why do you come here to meditate? And I come here because I feel good when I meditate. What does it sound like to you? They're doing it because they follow their own likings. That's a big no-no. I'm pointing this out to you for you to help you, not only you, but the people online or the future generations to be able to discern what is proper instructions in meditation, Buddhist meditation, versus improper instructions. Okay, we will not name names. Okay, I have no interest in destroying other people's work. Okay, I'm only interested in your cultivation. Okay, and those who are interested in practicing the proper Buddhist meditation, or Chan in particular, or even Hinayana meditation, is the same thing. When you cultivate, whether Hinayana, Mahayana, you should not only do things you like. Okay? And that should be, if the instructions you do as you like, okay? Or do this because it's more pleasant, this is more pleasurable, that's the wrong instructions. That's not Buddhist meditation at all. Okay? Our instructions are exactly the opposite. We're asking you to do things that you don't like crossing your legs. Anyone like crossing your legs when you first started? I hated it. Okay, so that's what he means. This is very important. I don't know why these important instructions were lost in the instruction that his disciples gave when they taught Chan meditation. I don't know what happened. I think he'll elaborate more later, I hope. But this is very important. Meditation is supposed to be something that you do, that you try to avoid following your own likings, doing things you like to do. Okay? So, for example, it's not just starting out, but as soon as you make progress and become so peaceful and blissful, guess what happens? You'll be asked to do more unpleasant things that you don't like. That's called cultivation. If you have samadhi, you can enter samadhi and you enjoy the samadhi is very pleasant, this is very nice, and you sit there, you meditate, and you look forward to it. Every time you practice meditation, you say, wow, now that I experience this good feeling, I want to experience it. That makes Chan meditation worthwhile to me. Okay, and guess what? It's no longer Chan meditation. Chan meditation, in our style, is that it gets harder and harder and harder and harder. It doesn't get any easier. So don't complain to me that why it's more difficult. It's more difficult because it's supposed to be more difficult for you to make more progress. Your degrees of difficulty increases with your skill level. If you do this, you meditate, you fast, and the second time, my God, it's so easy now. Then you're not going to make progress, guaranteed. Because you struggle to get there, and now it's so pleasant, meaning you're not making progress. And this is so important to point out the people who want to learn meditation, who want to practice Mahayana at all. My disciples, especially the monks and nuns, none of them has a chance to claim that life as a monk and nun is so pleasant. Anyone? Time to contradict me now, or forever hold your peace. It's a struggle. That's why one of the rules that we have for our left home people, especially trainees, is not to call home and complain that it's so hard. Master's so unfair. We work so hard. We don't rest. We don't. He's so demanding. We don't even get paid. Okay? It's supposed to be unpleasant. That's the training. Only losers would complain, and they will run away. That's how tough we are. That's why, look at these people. They don't look impressive, but they're very, very tough. Okay? Survival here is like a lot worse than survivors on the CBS show. What is that, a survival show? Anyone watch TV? Survivors? Okay, this is much, much more difficult. It's not every week. It's every day. So these people are very tough, very hardworking. And guess what? They don't walk around telling people, hey, we're so hardworking, we're so special. You know why? Because they're still struggling like heck. Doesn't matter where we are, they still struggle like crazy. This is not for sheeps. It's not for ordinary people. Nowadays, the monks and nuns are so rare. The nuns are smart. They refuse to get married, okay? And so they run away and become nuns, okay? Quite a few of them do that. Is that, why should I listen to a loser? Wait a minute. I'm better, okay? And so many nuns, many women who became nuns actually are very talented, very smart, very very skillful, and have so much potential because they realize they don't feel like kowtowing to boys. Okay, so in contrast, in our world. Now, our Buddhist world nowadays, the monks actually are not very skilled because if they were really skilled, they should be able to make a living out there and make a lot of money and say, why do I need to submit to a bald guy who's poorer than hell, and go through this struggle, what for? Okay? And so what happened is that in this day and age, everywhere, not just in Korea, and also Vietnam or the U.S. or China and everywhere, the nuns, a lot more competent nuns who says, I'll become a nun because I'm in control of my life and I can take care of myself. I don't need anyone to take care of me. And whereas the monks, they live the home life. It's because they are well treated, they're well cared for. We give them temples, we give them cars, we give them money, we give them adoration, and spoil them. So that's what happens in Taiwan. It happens also, in Korea as well. I notice that the monks and nuns, the monks are, they expect to be spoiled, they expect to be revered, okay? And they expect to have a good life, a comfortable life, and they expect recognition and so forth. That's why Buddhism, such people will not become enlightened. They can't. Okay? So it's because they follow their own likings in their practice. The training is not supposed to be doing whatever you like. You ask for permission at all levels. You always ask for permission. You be trained in one level, next you ask for permission so that you don't get lost. Next level, you still ask permissions because otherwise you get lost as well. It's not we want to be controlling. It's because we help you avoid making mistakes that will make you fall. It's so tough that I'm going to tell you, our program is so tough that those people who ran away, who became a monk and nun here, ran away from here and went to all the temples, and they can survive all the temples. They can't survive here. Okay, we're just too tough, too demanding, too difficult. Or the people who, from such temples, they come to our temples, I doubt they can survive the rigors of our training. All right? You don't listen to yourself. You ask for permission. You don't decide for yourself. Continue.
"为什么不要听自己的话呢？你自己这个所想象的不一定对。
Why shouldn't you listen to yourself? What you think might not be correct.
Stop. Okay. Now listen to yourself. So, here, the Master explains, this is very important because he will go on to explain to us, to you, all of us, what happens when you follow your own whims and desires when you practice. Your own likings, meaning I don't know what else to say. The exact words would be follow your own whims and desires. 兴趣 refers to what you like, and actually it's at the low level, it would be called whims and desires. All right? And he said, especially you don't listen to yourself. Okay? Why not? And this refers to at the level of the unenlightened people. Okay? If you're not enlightened yet, meaning what? Meaning that you have not been certified to be enlightened. That's what it means. Okay? If you're not certified yet, then you're not enlightened yet. Therefore, you should not listen to yourself. Because what you think might not be right. Okay? Right is a better word, but anyway, it's close enough. Not correct. Correct is knowledge. Correct knowledge. Right here is the proper knowledge, if you will. 对 here is correct, is right, but in the true sense here of his training, 对 here is correct. It means it's right, meaning it's the proper thing to do, not the correct thing to do. You understand the difference in the proper thing to do versus the correct thing to do? Correct refers to it's agreed by everyone. Yes? Correct is that it's correct. Correct is that it's the common knowledge, the common agreement is correct. Right, okay. Right on the other hand here is very subtle different. Right here is the, what is right may not be necessarily correct. Yes, too.
From Alex, how is following your own likings different from choosing a Dharma door you have affinity with?
How do you know you have affinity with a Dharma door? Is it correct to choose a Dharma door, or is it right to choose a Dharma door? Okay, so far so good. So this is at the level, I will talk to you at this level right now where if you're not enlightened, this is what the Master is addressing this audience back then in 1970s, early 70s, like most of you. You're not enlightened yet, and therefore you should not listen to yourself. Because what you think, what you believe, may not be right. May be correct, may be acceptable to everyone else, including yourself. May make sense to you, but still not right. Memorize this. This is so critical in your practice. You don't go anywhere, you get nowhere, you're not making progress because you're violating this. Yes, 6.
Thank you, Master. If I say it back to you to see if I comprehend, if you're waiting to cross the street and you see the blinking hand saying, "Don't cross," it's correct not to cross. While you're waiting for the hand to change to the walk signal, if you look down and you see money on the ground, it's proper not to pick the money up.
No, don't go like that. It's too humorous. This is very precise. Correct means that it's generally accepted by everyone. That is to be correct. It is correct to be polite. It is correct not to cross the red light. Okay, but it's not necessarily right not to cross the red light. Okay, so it's generally accepted means correct, but right here is appropriate behavior that will bring you there. So this is called secret, okay? Because what is generally acceptable to people may not be the right thing to do. Okay, for example, in the old ages, they used to believe in human sacrifices. So it's correct to sacrifice people. Okay, so the Chinese emperors, when they died, they would bury their concubines, lots of concubines with them. That's the correct thing to do. Yes? The correct thing to do is to sacrifice yourself and volunteer yourself to be buried with your emperor. So it's the correct thing to do. But from a human perspective, it's not the right thing to do. You don't just waste a human life like that. Okay? Another example I'll give you. For example, the people, let's say these disciples of his, they are extremely loyal to Master YongHua. So it's correct to be loyal to him. It's correct to be loyal to a sage and to be grateful to a sage. So far, so good? However, every now and then, I would become vocal and put in a bad position where I had to disagree with him. Okay? It's correct for me to be grateful to him, but it's not right for me to ignore the fact that I have to disagree, because it doesn't work for you, your generation. It may have worked for those hippies and those people in the 1970s. It certainly is not right for you. So I had to disagree. It's correct for me to be grateful. It's correct for me to follow his instruction myself, but it's not right for you. It's not right for me to blindly tell you the same thing. Is it clear? Okay? In particular, the key word here, for you who are not certified yet, what you think might not be right. Most likely, what you think is probably wrong. It may be correct, but it's wrong. It's so important. This point is very important. This is the difference between spending lifetimes practicing reciting Buddha's name, lifetime practicing the Hua Tou, and get nowhere. Because you are correct, but you're wrong. You spend lifetime following Tibetan mantras and practices. It's correct to do that because of that tradition, that track record, but it's wrong for us. That's why we don't do it. And this, by the way, is the job of a patriarch. Someone should be standing up there and say, this is the right thing, this is the wrong thing. He's not supposed to say what's correct or not correct. Correct is worldly standards. Right is, it's only one right, it's one wrong. There's no such a thing, there's no compromise. Continue.
不听自己的话，也就不是随着自己这个意念去做事情。你想做什么就做什么。
To not listen to yourself is to not follow your own will to do things. It is to not do whatever you want to do.
Top. Okay, now, is you do things you want to do. That's how we operate. That's the only way you operate. And guess what? Because of that, you've been revolving this wheel, reincarnation, lifetime after lifetime. So now you go into a transcendental practice and say, I like to get out, but I want to do practice the way that I like. So you continue the same to operate in the same mode of confusion. Okay, and that's why I said earlier about follow your likings. Actually, it's clear here. It says do whatever you want to do, meaning in English, whims and desires. Desires that you do what you want to do. Whim is that you follow your own likings over convention, over anyone else. If you like that, okay, you get nowhere. Again, hang in there. This is for confused people. I want you to pay attention. Those people who are feel themselves are not confused, there's still more, okay? Now I'm patiently waiting to see who he's teaching, because these words are very important. Continue.
In your mind, whatever you are thinking, don't do it.
Okay, whatever you're thinking, don't do it. Let me interpret this for you. Whatever you think is correct, don't do it. If whatever you're thinking, don't do it. Any questions? You should ask me a question right now. You see how fast you are. You understand you should ask me a question. You see, don't ask me a question meaning you're missing on the subtleties of this instruction. There's a very important question here. Anyone, can I borrow $100 from her? It's been a long, long chanji, 10 weeks, so, I forgot to bring money. Anyway, people would know better. Hey, that's my money, you cannot give my own money. The whole point is I borrow people's money and I try to, here's your money back. Say, no, Master, keep it. Your lesson's worth it. See? No, $100 bill, not right. This guy is too cheap. No, this is worth at least $100. Talk to your wife. Okay. Question from Conk.
고맙습니다. 생각한 대로 하지 말라고 하셨는데 생각하는 대로 40년을 살아오다가 지금 이 말을 들으니까 그럼 아무것도 할 수 없는 건지 묻고 싶습니다.
Master, you just mentioned that don't do whatever you think. So I've been living for 40 years and following my thinking. So does that mean I can't do anything?
Me in life? This refers to Chan practice. You do Huatou, you do Chan meditation. You can't do what you're thinking. And your normal life, on your daily life, you should do what you're thinking. Of course, that's normal. But in the spiritual practice, you cannot do what you're thinking. What does it mean? Yes.
To not trust your mind, it can be deceiving you, and sometimes it can be filthy, sometimes it's just tricking you, so you have to watch that.
So you don't trust yourself?
It really depends, Master.
It really depends. So give me an example when you can trust yourself.
So there is a saying that it is very easy to say no to things that are good, and it's easy to say yes to things that are not good. So becoming aware of that, so there are things that I want to do, so then I have to really question and reflect on it, and then depending on that, I will follow, or if I need guidance, well, I have asked you questions, so I ask someone that can guide me if it's about something else so that I can eventually just process that. Of course, at the end, I will do what I think is best. And best, I don't know how it falls between the correct and right. But I think I lean to how, because I have dealt a lot with guilt and, regretting things. So, I have made a lot of mistakes, so I have to really watch it on that. And then when I came here, I learned about the offenses. So I have to be really, really careful, Master. So I sometimes take a step back and, assess, I guess.
Okay, number 2.
D. Whiskey says, so do as we feel, right?
Do as we feel.
If we don't think, we do as we feel.
Okay, and do as you feel. You feel like it.
Cordelia said, what's the difference between thinking and let it pass versus thinking and thinking I'm right when I'm trying to stop thinking?
Okay, very good. Anyone else? Okay, he'll be clearer here next, I think. Here, there you go. Continue.
在42章经上说的明白，说善无信无义，你不要信你自己的这个意思，言而必摄身意这个意，你不要信。
The sutra in 42 sections states clearly, be careful not to believe your own mind. You should not believe in your own thinking. Do not believe it.
Okay, so this sutra is very important. I didn't do a good job stressing that when I explained this sutra 15 years ago. Okay, the sutra says here, 说明白说的善恶信如义. Okay, so he says, the sutra says, you should not believe in your own mind. The key word here is believe. This is what happens to all of us, that we believe it's right. Ask Alex. Alex thinks about things, analyzes things, and he says, after going through this entire process, after listening to everything, I believe this is a proper thing to do. That's what smart people do. That's what educated people do. Am I correct? Agree or disagree? Experienced people do. Wise people do that. They said, based on my experience, based on my professional opinion, I believe this is the right thing to do. Okay? That may work when you're applying engineering principles. Maybe you're applying your worldly educational training, your worldly training, your worldly experience, your worldly knowledge, but it does not work when you try to become enlightened. Okay? When you try to become enlightened, this is a very important thing. Okay? If you apply this thing here, it's in the context of worldly undertakings. Okay, it doesn't apply. But when you're going for spiritual practice, when you're going for unfolding your own wisdom, you cannot believe in your own mind. In other words, when you practice, let's say you meditate, you recite the Buddha's name, or recite mantras and so forth, and you say, I believe this is right. Okay? Then you should not do that. The key word is not to believe. And this is where smart people, successful people, intellectuals fail. When they go into our realm, because they believe they know, they believe they're right. Sounds familiar? You believe. That's when you're dead. Wrong. You may be correct, but you're wrong. So you find yourself. So if you are a good no advisor and you say, okay, you talk to them and you find that, the key word is that they believe that they're right, that's when they are dead wrong. You're not enlightened yet. You should not believe in your own mind. Don't believe in your thoughts, in your reasoning, in your deductions, in your knowledge. Not for spiritual practices. If you want to become enlightened, you cannot do that. This is why, again, I stress, successful people fail miserably at spiritual practices because they are so relying on their own thinking and their own smarts. They think they can figure it out, not in spiritual practices. Okay, and you, monks and nuns, you try to teach people, you meet such people, and say they are doctors or lawyers and so forth, and they're so sure of their own success. And they said, tell me what to do in order to meditate, okay? And once they hear the instructions, they walk away and say, I know what to do now. What happens? Here's the tricky part. You may know what to do, but you don't know how to solve your obstructions. And one of your biggest obstructions is yourself, your understanding. People like Alex, people like very smart people, educated people, successful people, rich people, okay? They like, look how far I've got in my entire life. I got here because I used my mind, my brains. So you asking me to stop being myself? That's why such people, I personally shy away from them. I quickly abandon those people. I back off because it's the uphill battle. Okay? They're too sure of themselves. Continue.
无意不可信，你这个所想的这个意思不可信。
Your mind is not to be believed. Your thinking is not to be believed.
You see how it keeps on stressing believe, to be believed, to be believed? Okay? That's key. Continue.
到什么时候才可以信呢？正果、四果、阿罗汉的时候，才可以信你自己的意思。
When can you believe in your own mind? When you have attained the fruition of fourth stage arhat.
Stop. Okay. The Master says, you cannot believe your own mind until you've been certified to have reached fourth stage arhat. Meaning that first stage, second stage, third stage. No. Can't believe your own mind. Fourth stage, you can believe your own mind. Okay? Not sure it's in the sutra. Yes, 8.
Master, I remember your explanation, this part. You say when you reach fourth stage arhat, you still have to believe in good knowing advisor instead of believing your own mind.
Exactly. This is the problem I have. Pay attention. If you are not certified to reach fourth stage arhat yet, and you should seek. If you think you are fourth stage arhat, go seek. Don't take that, I am pretty sure I am, okay? You don't. You never believe yourself until someone who's enlightened certifies you, okay? And so you should not. So if you are not certified to reach fourth stage arhat, you better not. You better not believe yourself that you are right. That you are right. And then when you reach fourth stage arhat, can you believe your own mind? Let me tell you, it's not true either. Even in fourth stage arhat, you can still not believe your own mind. That's how precise it is. Okay? Any problems? Continue.
没有证的四果阿罗汉，你所想的不一定是对的。
Before you're certified to fourth stage arhat, what you think might not be correct.
Might not be right. Again, let's agree on the terminology. Correct is worldly traditions, worldly standards. Right is only right or wrong, or proper or improper. That's it. There's no double standards. Because correct could vary from the times, from the cultures, okay? But right and wrong is about whether it's conducive to your opening your wisdom or not. Continue.
那么，要是随着自己的意去做去，就很容易找魔障，发生魔障。
If you follow your own mind to do things, you will easily encounter demonic obstructions.
This is true whether you are unenlightened or you are enlightened as well. Continue.
就你欢喜睡觉的，就有一个睡魔来搅乱你的心性，一天到晚呢，总想着睡觉是好。
If you are fond of sleeping, a sleep demon will come to disturb your nature. Day and night, you will constantly think about going to sleep.
我是不够睡，睡一睡喽，总自己呀，给自己讲道理，睡觉是最好的，睡嘛。
You can't sleep enough, no matter what. You will always want to take a nap. You constantly convince yourself, being sleepy is like this. That's the sleep demon coming.
No, it's not coming. The sleep demon's work. He's there already. He's not coming. If it's a Chinese here, it means he's there already. He came already. Continue.
你要想懒惰啊，你看嘛，懒魔就来了。那个懒魔说：“今天什么也不做，这是最好的。”
If you want to be lazy, a lazy demon will come. This lazy demon says, "Today it is best to do nothing."
他用他那种魔的力量、魔的术、魔的法术，就叫你呀跟着他懒。
He would then use his demonic power, his demonic method to make you lazy, just like him.
好吃的，就是这个吃魔来了。
Whoever is fond of eating, an eating demon will come. This eating demon will tell you,
这个吃魔呀，就告诉你，吃一点好的饮食啊，是最好的。肉那么香，你为什么不吃它呢？最有营养就是肉。
eating fine food is the best. The meat smells so good. Why don't you eat some? Anything you inhale smells like meat.
你想吃素吗？他就叫你开斋，叫你不吃素，吃斋，不吃斋，吃这个肉类。
You want to be a vegetarian, but he will make you break the vegetarian diet. He will tell you not to be a vegetarian. Do not be a vegetarian. Eat meat.
总而言之，你修道对你不相当的事情，他就叫你做。
All in all, when you are cultivating the way, whatever is not appropriate, he will tell you to do it. 等一等，我想一想，喝点牛奶是不错。我现在今天呢吃一餐，这有点肚饿了，喝点牛奶。 After a while, when you think about it again, it is good to drink some milk. Now, today, I only ate one meal. I'm a little hungry.
喝点蜜糖，或者再吃点糖。
I should drink some milk, or drink some honey, or eat some candy.
本来平时他也不想吃糖，这一修行呢，就想着吃糖了。
Originally, you didn't want to eat candy. Once you start cultivating, you want to eat candy.
不是想吃这个东西，就想吃那个东西，就馋鬼了。
If you are not craving for this, then you are craving for that. That's the gluttonous ghost has come.
不过这个鬼呀，你没有得到天眼通，你看不见。
But these ghosts, unless you obtain the heavenly eyes penetration, you can't see them.
你也没有得到肉眼，也看不见；没有得到法眼，你也。
If you have not obtained the heavenly eyes, your flesh eyes cannot see them.
看不见。
If you have not obtained the Dharma eyes, you can't see them either.
没有得到慧眼，没有得到佛眼，你看不见这个鬼。
If you have not obtained the wisdom eyes or the Buddha eyes, you cannot see these ghosts.
所以虽然有鬼呀，你也看不见。好像那个吸鸦片烟的人呢，只要鸦片烟鬼来呀，你那吸鸦片。
Although there are ghosts, you can't see them. It's like when somebody smokes opium, this opium ghost will come.
在那一吸鸦片烟，那个鸦片烟鬼就来了，来了。
When somebody starts to smoke opium, once somebody started to smoke opium, there, the opium ghost will come.
他就帮着你这个吸完了吐出来，他就吸。
Once he comes, he will help you. When you finish smoking and come out, he will continue to smoke.
所以他怎么有瘾呢？那个瘾不是人瘾，就是那鬼。抽一口了，抽一口了。
He doesn't have a form. It is not a human shadow. It is a ghost. Come and take a sip. Take a sip.
快快的呢！因为那鬼他要犯瘾了。我看见那个鸦片烟的鬼。
Come, come, come quickly, because that ghost is also addicted. I have seen this opium ghost.
，have a good name. 这个要加几个字，要加这个飞台颂。也不记得这个。这个态度，什么态度？
And need to add a few characters here, this title.
什么态度是这个理想？态度是有这个这也就要加飞台颂呢。title 那个地方要加上那个飞台颂节。很辛苦，做工，现在做很多工。怎么你笑嘻嘻的？什么意思？我们的鸦片烟有那个吸鸦片烟的，就有个鸦片烟鬼跟着他，总。
So, this opium, wherever there are people who smoke opium, there will be this opium ghost following these people.
想他抽鸦片烟，所以啊。
The opium ghost will always want to make this person smoke opium. So, well, that's the end of the slide deck, Master.
Okay, I guess it's time for us to stop as well. I just want to make a few comments. I don't care to go back to the slides because there's too many of them. I don't have enough time. Here's what I will tell you. I'm sure he's going to add more in the next file. But what he says here, doesn't matter who you are, the demons will come to you and create the urge for you, for a monk to eat meat, to drink, okay? And you have the urge to do that. It's because the demons are pulling your strings. Put it very bluntly. Okay? Every time you do that, you should be aware that the demon is pulling your strings. Okay? And so that's what the Master is referring to. Whether you are desire to eat certain things, you desire to drink, you desire to do smokes, to smoke, you desire to do opium, okay? Desire to gamble, that's a demon's work. Okay? This applies to not only lay people, ordinary people, but also fourth-stage arhats as well. Because I see fourth-stage arhat being manipulated by the demons. Too many of them. Too many fourth-stage arhats being manipulated by demons. Fourth-stage arhats, when they're under control of the demons, they lie, they manipulate, they're underhanded. Fourth-stage arhats who are under the demons' influence, they drink, they smoke, they eat meat. Okay? That's the way it is. So don't be so full of yourself. Okay? What does it mean? Yes, 7.
I just had a personal question. I don't know if you want to continue your point first. But my question was just, there's times where I have to make certain decisions about my cultivation, and I'm given a lot of freedom. Then I end up thinking about, have a current question about how I should cultivate, and I think about it, and then I realize I'm just thinking about it, and I shouldn't believe what I'm thinking, and then in the end, I still just have no idea what to do.
Okay, so this is very important for you to realize that. For example, for you beginners who are new to Chan, who are new to cultivation, whether like you are a trainee or you are a newly minted monk and nun, or you've been a monk and nun for a long, long time, okay, my advice to you is still do not believe in yourself. If you believe in yourself, you're walking down the wrong road. Especially, you follow your own desires, okay? And then you're walking down the wrong road. Especially those of you, in particular, those of you who feel that you're so right and others are so wrong, you're walking down the wrong road. So what do you do instead? Stop thinking. Do what your good known advisor instructs you to do. That's all. Do what you're told, period. You can think all you want. It's wishful thinking. And that's why when you teach Chan meditation, and the other day, someone said to me, now you told me that I should not believe in why it's so painful. You see, right there, they're messing with your mind. There's nothing you can do. Okay, and if you at the point where you especially you're teaching new people and they at that state, there's nothing you can do. You tell them, they get offended. You don't tell them, they're doing it wrong. So you can't really teach them. So what are you going to do? What happened to him is that he planted blessings. So the only way to overcome that problem is pay attention, everyone. You find yourself disagreeing and thinking, being so sure yourself, okay? That's when you know you're walking down wrong road. That's when you, instead of asking, instead of taking, plant blessings. That's the only way out. You can quit all you want, you get nowhere. Okay? Yeah. You're so sure yourself, especially a lot of fourth-stage arhats are so sure of themselves, like the 5,000 bhikshus, when they listen to the flower, the Dharma flower sutra, or lotus sutra. The Buddha says, what I taught you is not quite the whole picture yet. There's something much better, and they walked out because they're so sure of themselves. Cannot be more stupid than that. It is documented in our own Mahayana sutras. Fourth-stage arhats are a bunch of idiots. I can't stress that more. If you're fourth-stage arhat, the whole world may look at you as you are extraordinary. The Indians might look at you, admire you. Chinese may look at admire you. For us here in America, especially in our temple, we look at you as a bunch of idiots because you don't know what you're doing. So, instead of being so sure of yourself, work, plant blessings. And when you have enough blessings, the instruction will make sense to you. When you don't have blessing, you disagree. I disagree. This is so wrong. Master is so wrong, and so forth. That's when this is so key to Mahayana practices. If you disagree with good no advisors, and you plot for your own benefit, your own futures, that means you don't have enough blessings yet. That's all. You've been so sure of yourself since forever. You don't even remember. Every single lifetime, you become more and more sure of yourself. Okay, time is up. Thank you, everyone. Good night. And again, monks and nuns, that's all we can do. If those people who are so sure of themselves, they come and they say, teach me, and so forth, okay, it's nothing you can do. Leave them alone. Okay? And hopefully you have things that help them create blessings for themselves. If not, don't try to teach them. Okay? You need more time. Okay? If they're lucky, they plant blessings, they can be taught this lifetime. They're not lucky, they don't have chances to plant the blessings, not much we can do. We have to wait till next lifetime when the seeds you planted, the few seeds they planted, will mature in the future lives. In Maitreya Buddha's time, maybe. Okay? That's what we're here for, to help those people to plant blessings so that when Maitreya Buddha comes in the future, they mature. Okay? But it's not much you can do. So you cannot force the issue. Okay? And this is why in the future, as there's more of you are ready, then we should have more programs to help people create more blessings. That's important. I ignored in the past because we didn't have the facilities. Now we have more of you. That's what we need to do. Because we need people to give people a chance to plant blessings with Mahayana. Okay? And that's what saddens me, to see what happened to my late Chinese teacher. It's a mess he left behind. Thank you, everyone.